What's going on, Rovers? Sam here, back at it again for another video. With 2.0 in full swing and a bunch of new players coming into the game, I wanted to take some time to provide an updated tier list for you all to help you prioritize which characters you should go for in Wuthering Waves. So let's get into it. So let's start off with who I think is arguably the best character in the entire game, Shorekeeper. She gives you crit rate, she gives you crit damage, she's the best healer in the game. I swear when I'm using Arena on the other half of Tower Fantasy, it doesn't feel good because Shorekeeper is just that giga cracked. If you don't have her, excuse me, if you don't have her, I really think you should prioritize getting her because she unlocks so many doors. She literally is in every single best team comp in the game thus far. I don't know if it's ever going to change because she is just that cracked. Moving on over to, I would say, the big three, the big queens of Wuthering Waves, starting with Camellia. She is insane. She does very rapid damage very quickly. She's very easy to use. She has one of the best team comps in the game with her Sanhua and Shorekeeper. As far as playstyle is concerned, I think she's a little bit harder to master than some of the other DPSs we'll talk about, but her damage output is absolutely insane. Super fun, you know, the little vine swinging, and then not to mention she is an absolute basket case, which you know just adds to her persona, her vibe. Now, Jinshi, the only DPS I don't have, she is absolutely insane. I don't love how she feels, but her damage per screenshot is insane. I would say, you know, she could probably be interchanged as far as like overall damage with Camellia. But Jinshi, she's cracked. She's been the best DPS or one of the best DPSs since she was released. And that's going to continue to be the case for, you know, quite some time. Carlotta. Now, I like Carlotta the best. If I'm picking between the three, I think she is the most fun. I think she is the easiest to use, especially with, you know, her teammates that we'll talk about. She just feels good. She does really good damage. I was really nervous about gun characters in Wuthering Waves. Just, you know, not to throw any shade, but I didn't really enjoy Chishia's gameplay. So I was like, how are they going to make gun characters feel good and fun? Well, they nailed it with Carlotta. I would say she's probably my favorite character in the game. I think design-wise, she's spectacular. And like I said, I think she's very easy to play, very easy to get her rotation down. Now, Zheja. This character I thought was pretty meh. I mean, obviously when she came out, she was Jinshi's best support for the skill damage. Now with Carlotta, she gives a glacio damage and a skill damage boost with her outro skill, which Carlotta loves both of those. And with the new, what's it called, Inferion set, she can do a tremendous amount of damage as a sub DPS with her coordinated attacks off the field. So Jaja, she's cracked. She is cracked. I actually just got her myself. Definitely hurt my bank account, but she is a very solid character, and I definitely think if you want Carlotta, you can prioritize these three characters right here, and they will carry you quite some distance. Chenli, probably here, but I'm gonna slap her here. Honestly, this is probably full bias. Really like this character. Super fun to use. I would say she's probably my second favorite character along Carlotta. Her damage isn't as high as these three, obviously, but I think there's still room for her to grow because she hasn't really had a great teammate alongside her. Now, obviously, she's kind of seen as the elemental damage booster for Fusion. And aside from Encore, really hasn't been a great Fusion DPS to pair alongside her. Obviously, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We might have another one or two coming down the pipe. But I really like this character. I think she's super fun. Like the swaps, you know, her skill, her burst, her animations just look insane. So realistically, she might be like top tier A, but I'm gonna slap her in S because I want to. Mr. Yao, I still think he's S tier. He does so much damage, and when you pair him with Shorekeeper, and you'll notice I keep saying Shorekeeper because she's insane, and Yinlin, he does insane damage. He also has like a time stop built into his kit, which really helps deal those big damage instances. Sometimes he can be a little bit janky to pull off with Yinlin just because Yinlin is kind of crazy herself, but I still think his overall damage is very high. I don't think it's as good as these three in certain situations, but he definitely slaps. Speaking of Yinlin, I think she's A. I used to have her S, but she's just a little bit tricky to play. I don't know if I would prioritize her or recommend to prioritize her. Now, obviously, if you're a big Yao stan, obviously she's his best support, but she's got a lot of like little nuances and text to her kit, which is cool, which is fun. It adds to the variety of gameplay, but I don't know, man. I think there might be a better electro support or sub DPS in the future, but for right now, she's what we got. She's still really solid, can do good damage. Obviously, her outro gives Mr. Yao a big boost, so that's why she's still super high A tier. Encore. Encore is so adorable, man. She pairs really well with Chen Li, but I mean, her damage is her damage. Like obviously, she's a standard 5-star, so I wouldn't expect her to be super cracked. Um, she's pretty easy to get down as far as rotation once you use her quite a bit, but I think she's going to get power crept very quickly. We just don't really have any other fusion DPS 5-stars currently, and like I said, we could have a few down the road. So I don't know how long Encore will be here, but for right now, she's adorable. She does pretty decent damage. I mean, I'm able to clear most of TOA with these two and Shorekeeper or Verena. So she's solid A. She's solid A. Speaking of Verena, you can make an argument that she's low S. I'll put her high A, just because she's nowhere near as good as Shorekeeper. I mean, people say Shorekeeper is just pro max Verena. I don't know. Shorekeeper is insane. Verena is not. So I think there has to be a little bit of discrepancy between the two. She's still the second best healer slash support in the game. She, like I said, very good healer, very good boost for your team, scales off attack, increases the overall attack of your team. But again, if we're comparing apples to apples, this is like the biggest, juiciest apple ever. This one's maybe like a Granny Smith. No hate to Granny Smiths, but just not as good apple. And again, still very early on in Wuthering Waves. We're only 6 months in. I'm willing to bet there will be other healers or supports that kind of push her down. But again, for now, very, very solid character. Gion. Gion's dope, man. Obviously, his damage pales in comparison to the big three, but he's still really solid. You pair him with Mortefi, Shorekeeper, Verena. He does really good damage, and he is like the parry master. I'm telling you, you can close your eyes when he's in his liberation because you'll just be pairing everything. I mean, when there's an arrow damage boost in TOA, I still use him because, again, good enough damage, especially with the arrow damage boost and his parry ability. Awesome. Normally in gacha games, like the uh, first character gets power crept to Oblivion, it still might happen to him, but he's still hanging in there, man. Good for Gian. I really like his English VA too. Shout out. Calcharo, man. Sephiroth is a cool flipping character, but he's probably B or C. Like he is nowhere near as good as Zhang Li Zhao. He's got some tech to him too. Like to maximize his damage, like you really got to be on your P's and Q's. So out of respect, I'll put him in B. He still does really good damage. I mean, if you have Gion in his weapon, you could slap his weapon on the Calcharo. Still does really good damage. Obviously, you can pair him with Yinlin and it'll work. But just as far as DPSs are concerned, I think he's a couple rungs down. Sanhua, cracked. I absolutely love Sanhua. Recently got her sequence 6. She is such a pod character because she is so easy to build. Like you could basically put her quote unquote naked. Don't take that out of context. Um, like no echoes, no nothing, and she functions so well because she gives such a massive basic attack boost. Obviously she's Camelia's best support, and she's just cracked. I kind of liken her to like maybe even like Bennett, like Wuthering Waves Bennett potentially, because I just think she's so easy to build. She's so like her on-field time is so short. She's just cracked. If most of us probably have her S6 by now, and if you do and you haven't built her, what you doing, gamer? She is insanity. Tangent. One of the most fun characters in the game. Obviously, she's a 4-star DPS. Not really going to be super viable long term, but again, super fun character. We prioritize fun here. Damage is good. You compare her with Havoc Rover, who continues to get stronger as we progress in the story and get more sequences. Slap Dreamless on both of them. You can clear a lot of the content in the game. Now, the new TOA is very challenging. Might not be able to full star it with, Havoc Rover and Danjin unless you're a Giga gamer. But really solid character. Like as a new player, if you get her, you get Havoc Rover, you build them up, you're gonna be able to do some pretty good damage and get through a lot of the content in the game. Speaking of Havoc Rover, we'll say it's this female Rover. I would put her. I would put her A. She's solid. Again, like I said, only gonna get better as we get more sequences. I think sequence 4 or 5 makes her actually like a pretty decent support for Havoc in general because they lower the Havoc resistance of enemies. So could be a good support for Havoc down the stretch. And then also I think sequence 6 gives a 25% crit rate boost. So sorry, getting bombarded by an ad here. So all in all, I think she's a really, really solid character. Only going to get better from a Havoc perspective. Like I said, pair her with Danjin and 2 Dreamless, you're going to do a lot of damage early on in the game. If Havoc is A, Spectro is C, very meh. I don't know why you would use Spectro over Havoc. I mean, technically, S6 Spectro Rover can be a decent like support for Spectro in general, but I don't know why you would use Spectro over Havoc. Sorry, I don't really know if I need to provide any other insight. Genshin, super cool character, super versatile, does a lot, can shield, groups enemies well, but just I don't feel great, gamer. Also, her outro gives a pretty big boost to damage liberation, which can be good. But again, execution, don't love it. But if you get her early on, I definitely think you know, she can be a boon to your account for sure. But if I'm picking between standard 5 stars, definitely would recommend Verena over her. But she's solid. She's solid B. You get tests back from your professor. It's a solid B. You're not mad. Like you're not mad about Zhang Jin. Uh, but this feller, you're a little upset with Lin Yang. He looks cool, super adorable. I think he has really flashy animations, but he has major knockback problems because a lot of his attacks are in the air. You definitely have to be careful about, you know, pulling off his rotations. It just, again, feel. I'm kind of a, you got theory crafters and you got feel crafters. I'm a feels crafter kind of guy. He don't feel great. He don't feel great. He looks great. He don't feel great. So you could put him D, you could put him C. Again, unfortunately, Wuwa's got like some really top heavy characters, and then they got a decent amount of meh characters. He definitely kind of falls in the meh category. We're continuing with meh. Alto. Alto is very meh. Like he don't do a lot. He's cool. Um, he has some arrow support capabilities built into his kit via his outro, but not not a character I could recommend building unless you really, really want to. I just think there's other better supports, specifically for Gion, who's like our main arrow DPS right now. We'll talk about him in a second. But yeah, not a great character. Not great. Looks cool. Great VA. Love his English VA, but not a great character. Mortefi. Speaking of good supports for Gian, Mortefi, A. Solid A. Great coordinated attacker. Does really good sub DPS off field. Like I said, best support for Gian aside from, Shorekeeper or Verena, or best pair for Gian. So I still think he's strong A. I think he'll probably hold that for a while because, again, kind of like Sanhua, they kind of have some universality. They have some universal. I don't know. I don't know that word. I always struggle, but very, very solid character. Kind of another meh. She looks cool, but I don't love the playstyle. And as far as DPSs are concerned, I would just recommend having Rover. If you get her early on, you can use her. I've seen people do some pretty insane damage with her. I mean, she can technically pair decently well with Chen Li. I would say not nearly as well as Encore, but Shishia, Nah, uh, not a character I would recommend investing in early on. I like if you get any of the other, standard 5-star DPSs like Calcharo, I would work on him over her. Encore definitely. Havoc Rover, who's free. Definitely just not a character I would use the resources on. Yoo-hoo, more like Boo-hoo. Uh, Again, another meh character. I mean, technically, she's like the fourth best healer in the game. She's adorable, but I don't like the gotcha mechanic in her kit and her playstyle. I know there's ways to kind of mitigate it, but not a character. I haven't touched this character. Like I have not built her. I don't plan on investing in her whatsoever. Um, but if you're in a pinch for a healer, I suppose. But I would definitely most so recommend Baija. Baija is significantly better at healing. In fact, she even with her outro skill gives like a 15% deepen damage increase, which is like universal damage increase. It only lasts for 6 seconds, which isn't great, but the fact that she is the third best healer in the game, she's free. She can even, I think, do a little bit of like coordinated attacks, low key. But yeah, Baija over Yoo-hoo any day of the week. Baija, if you don't have Shorekeeper, don't have Arena, or you only have one of them, she'd probably be your second healer in TOA. So she's fine. She's solid, but again, she's a 4-star. We're still only 6 months into the game. Pretty sure we're going to get more healers and support that'll knock her down. But for now, that's solid B. Yang Yang, Yang Yang's kind of cool. I think she has a really fun playstyle. She's got some grouping. But again, just kind of another one of those mech characters. Like early on, you get her, you'll use her, but very quickly she gets replaced by just better characters. But again, you could do worse. You could do a lot better. So, you know, she's fine. I would probably say I would put her above Spectro Rover. I put her low B because she's cool. She is a main protagonist early on. Give her some respect on her name. Yuan Wu. I think this dude is so cool. The lightning fist, the coordinated attack. I got him S6 so early on, and I really thought I would make like a video talking about like I turned this dog water character cracked. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Not my favorite character. Just the scaling isn't great. Again, 4-star. But again, if you get a lot of copies of him early on, technically he could be a decent electro support because again, he has pretty good coordinated attacks built into his kit. I think he has one of the coolest burst animations, like I mentioned, but it just don't feel great. I also realized that Havoc and Spectre are down here. Anywho, Tao Chi, no, nope, nope. She got a little bit better because she pairs really well with Carlotta. She's technically Carlotta's like tied for second best support with Sanhua behind Jeja, but bro, if feels crafting was a thing, she feels terrible. Like most Broadblade characters in the game, like Gion and Calcharo, like feel fast. Like you think of like broadswords or great swords. Like look at Genshin. Claymore characters in Genshin feel slow. She feels so slow and so bad to use. I mean, technically she has some versatility, some shielding. Kind of like if we're talking about Genshin Beto, but nah. Nope. Not a character I would recommend. Another one, Lumi. Adorable. Very cute character. Her outro also has some like benefits, but I think her playstyle is like super, super clunky. I used her in the event and I was like, what the flip is this character? I would not recommend her unless you really like the cuteness factor. Again, everything is subjective. Build whatever character you want. I just wanted to make this tier list to help you prioritize like which ones you should go for if you're a new player, maybe if you're struggling with TOA. But again, this is a game. Video games are supposed to be fun. Pull for who you want, build who you want, but I definitely don't think she's the type of character that I would hyper invest into. But that's pretty much it, gamers. I just, like I said, wanted to give my 2 cents. I know there's a lot of new gamers coming in. Shout out all my PS5 gamers out there. I'm super glad that Wuwa finally reached your platform. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list, but I'm sure I'll get roasted in the comments because I'm a donut. I'm a big dodo. But let me know. What do you think? Did I nail it? Am I a donut? Am I a dodo? But yeah, pretty much it. I hope this helps you prioritize kind of which characters to spend your astrite on, and I hope your summons are better than my Zhezhe because holy moly, I am broke, gamers. I am broke.